So right now, all processes being done to open that latch. It's very, very difficult because, you see it's sealed essentially. And that's because at re-entry, and like I've been highlighting, the temperatures that it reaches up to, the heat and the friction is what you see the impact outside. There are heat shields, of course, around the SpaceX Dragon capsule, but you can see the impact really of the re-entry on the capsule. It's completely burnt out, which is what makes these capsules unreusable. SpaceX believes in maximum reuse of most of its equipment, but a capsule at this point is not reusable just because of the kind of damage that's inflicted upon it once it re-enters into the Earth's atmosphere. That's the most challenging bit, essentially, of the return journey. Now, at this point, while it's for the astronauts just sitting back and waiting, for the ground crew, this is the hardest part, to ensure that all harnesses are removed, to ensure that the opening is done perfectly, picture perfect as the return, as the splashdown has been so far.
Been lifted onto the recovery vessel Shannon. Now the recovery crew is safing the vehicle. They're putting some covers on the thrusters of the vehicle just to ensure, now that the spacecraft is no longer in operation, we don't need those thrusters. They did some sniff checks before they put some covers on it.
SpaceX comm check.
We have you loud and clear in Dragon.
Copy that, Dragon. We have you the same. Welcome aboard the recovery ship. We are working to troubleshoot the forward link transition. Stand by for translation across the deck. I'll let you know when we're ready for that.
Okay, copy.
The crew is preparing for translation. This is where that Dragon nest is going to move the spacecraft towards the deck, and that deck is going to meet the bottom of the Dragon hatch, and that'll enable the crew to egress or exit the Dragon spacecraft onto a platform on the recovery vessel. And again, the recovery crew looks like they may have finished safing the vehicle in preparation for that translation.
As you mentioned, Jesse, that hatch that you see right in the center of the spacecraft, when we see crew egress from that, SpaceX medical personnel will be there to assess crew and assist them along with other ground support crew out of the spacecraft. And at that point, that'll be our first time being able to see the AX-4 crew since their liftoff to the International Space Station on June 25th. On a side note, I do love seeing crew go into and come out of the hatch, whether it's the side hatch or whether it is the docking port. I love seeing the smiles on their faces.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for them once we open this Dragon side hatch. Again, it'll be the first breath of fresh air in about 20 days for them since they boarded the Falcon 9 on launch day.
And it is an interesting distinction. You launch in the Atlantic and you splash down the Pacific. It's very different breaths of air that you're getting.
And you traveled all over space for thousands of miles.
288 orbits, something like 7.6 million miles, all just to come down across the country.
Millions of miles, I should say. It's definitely a great passport to have.
It is. Maybe that could be the next memento that that we can provide crew before they lift off as a passport that they can see.
I think the locations would be orbits.
That'd be really cool.
Outside of Earth.
Yeah.
Earth orbits, low Earth orbit. Again, next up, we are expecting the translation of the Dragon spacecraft named Grace, named by the Axiom Mission 4 crew. Again, the spacecraft will translate in preparation for hatch opening and exiting of the vehicle.
A few moments ago, core spoke with the AX-4 crew to let them know that the translation will be happening soon.
Dragon, SpaceX, final checks are complete. Translation across the deck to the egress platform will begin shortly. There is a chance that we get a lot of alarms. No concern.
Dragon copies.
And we have movement. Translation is beginning. Some residual ocean water splashing down, and then we are washing down the hatch area. Again, just preparing for the vehicle's side hatch to be opened, getting some of that salt water off, maybe some of that plasma from reentry off.
Right, all nominal processes to ensure that that crew can safely egress the vehicle, but also that ground personnel are safely protected while handling the spacecraft and crew as well. So at this point, we can see SpaceX personnel positioning themselves to support in this, as well as the spacecraft making final approaches to that upper landing pad for crew to egress the vehicle. And after that freshwater washdown of the hatch area, we're seeing some final wipe downs as well. For those with a keen eye as well, you can see on the side of Grace, as it was making its approach towards the upper landing, the Axiom logo proudly displayed on the spacecraft. We had some great shots during the docking footage of SpaceX, Axiom, making a beautiful image of the vehicle docked to the International Space Station. It's a little worn.
A little
but
toasty.
A little toasty.
A little toasty.
All part of nominal ops, though.
3,500 degrees Fahrenheit
That'll
will do that.
Dragon, SpaceX, standby for side hatch opening and egress of some smiling faces.
Here we go.
All right, we're looking forward to it.
They are just about to open that side hatch, and again, first person that'll greet the crew will be the medical officer.
The hatch is open, and ground crews are making first contact with the Axiom 4 crew.
And you see that square looking tool, that's just a protector for the hatch seal for while the crew egresses. This is a reusable vehicle, so we are protecting both the crew as well as the spacecraft, making sure there's no damage that happens and that the crew doesn't bump their head on anything on the spacecraft.
Now, any moment now, by the way, you're going to be seeing Group Captain Shukla emerging from that capsule. We're not sure of the order in which the astronauts will be emerging. I'm guessing it's based on seating, who's the closest to really the capsule, but there's protocol to that too. The only person who's gone in, the photographer getting a chance to get in and take one last photograph of the astronauts inside the capsule, but the only person who was allowed inside was a medical officer so far. A couple of photographers being allowed to get one last glimpse of the AX-4 crew in the Dragon capsule, and I'm sure they'll want to remember that moment too. That's a medical officer there. A couple of them entering, but you will see one after another now the astronauts emerging outside. And we can't wait to catch a glimpse of Group Captain Shukla. It's been a tough journey. It's been a hard journey. I'm sure 22 hours to come back home, to return to planet Earth. I'm sure they're relieved, but also excited to be back. It's going to be, again, a rehabilitation of about 7 days. So that will be another crucial point in the recovery itself. So it doesn't end here. They're emerging out, and then they'll be taken directly to the rehabilitation program. But you can see all of the personnel now on standby, waiting for the astronauts and getting set to ensure that they are brought out from that capsule safely. A hatch, which is opened, yes, but they've also put a cover around the hatch to ensure that there's no scope for any injuries. But it looks like some parts being removed from the capsule just before the astronauts make their way out. Are ready, so we can assure you that we will be able to get you all those live updates and live videos from the moment that all of the astronauts step out, which is reassuring for us to see so far away that the cameras are right to the location there to get you every one of those updates, and so we can watch what's happening as the astronauts come out. We're just moments away from that.
Get out of their seats while they are exiting the vehicle.
Now getting some great internal views of the AX-4 crew in their spacecraft.
I already saw some big smiles as people we've all been saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Captain Shukla, all smiles, Suesha. Great to see. So it looks like he's enjoyed that journey back. I don't know how, but he seems to have enjoyed it. He's all smiles, which means he's doing okay. Good to see. First view there of all of them seated, still strapped on, mind you, because they'll be waiting for the go-ahead for each of them, one after another, to be pulled out. But it also gives you a sense.
As
the
we
first
wait
thing
for the
that
AX-4
it struck me from that view
vehicle, you can see
was look
ground
how
crew
small and
still,
cramped it is. There's no space for anyone to move.
Putting in aspects of I'm not going to call it rigging, but hardware to help the crew get out of the spacecraft more easily. Reminder that they've been in microgravity for a little over 20 days, and occasionally your first few steps back on Earth can be
they're coming out.
Slightly challenging.
It's a little different in microgravity than dealing with the gravity here on Earth. Just now joining us, we are waiting for the AX-4 crew to exit the Dragon spacecraft Grace. Peggy, Shukla, Suave, and Tibor are at the end of their Axiom Mission 4. After 20 days in space, 18 on board the International Space Station. 18 days.
And now this wraps up a very significant portion of the mission, but it's not entirely over. We still have a few medical checks to go. And then in addition to that, the AX-4, all the research done on the AX-4 mission is all going to be in a world of post-processing, analysis, assessment, and that's all part of it, as well as crew debriefs. So, following after crew egresses the spacecraft and gets good medical checks, at that point we'll be getting the crew back home and then continuing the final, we'll call it terrestrial-based operations of the
That's
AX-4
right.
mission.
I guess it's more of the end of the space-facing portion of the mission.
Operational phases. Right. We're still going to take our time to get there. You can see ground crews are still working with the crew members and hardware inside. They've established some ground support equipment to help in the aid of the AX-4 crew getting out of the spacecraft.
And some of their aids are not too complex. That white platform that you see there is essentially a slide.
Yeah. But an important one.
A very important slide.
But in addition to that slide, we do have, there's a complex tool that you mentioned earlier, Jesse, about protecting the seals. We can see now first crew members looking to make their egress from spacecraft along that slide.
Sliding out.
And there she is. We see Commander Peggy Whitson, all smiles, exiting the spacecraft brace. That is a beautiful sight. Peggy Whitson, the AX-4 commander, is home, having logged 695 days in space on 5 flights. She is the 7th on the all-time list for most days in space by a human. It's an incredible feat.
Legendary.
Okay, Peggy Whitson, the mission commander, is out, all smiles. Great to see that they're on their feet, of course, with a little bit of assistance, but they're sliding out of the capsule and then being assisted by personnel on ground, all smiles and walking out, which means it's not just been a picture-perfect splashdown from the outside for us, but in the inside too, which is why they're all looking comfortable. They're looking at ease. About 16 days in space. That's a long time of not having any gravity, which is why it's complicated for them to also come out. But you can see the photographer there right in front. In all likelihood, it's going to be Group Captain Shukla next, considering the mission commander is out. If you look at the seating inside the Dragon capsule, the middle 2 seats, it's Peggy Whitson and then Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. To the 2 extremes are the mission specialists, uznański and Disembark. So my sense is that if Peggy Whitson has emerged, you're going to be seeing Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla next. A fleeting view. You saw with Peggy Whitson, it was just a quick smile, a thumbs up, and then she was moved away from that location. It's going to be similar with Group Captain Shukla as well. Just a moment's glimpse as he emerges from that capsule, and then he'll be carried out.
We are waiting for the remaining